Welcome everyone to episode 455 of the Daily Mother Swole. I'm your host, John Van Man Bunderson.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Nah, fuck that shit. I'm Papa Swolio. Welcome to the Gain Train. On aboard to Gainesville, straight to Boston, Mass. Oh, and also the taint. Because we're going balls deep. All the way. We're not stopping. Enough coffee? I don't fucking think so. Now is the time to share and like the broadcast. Share it, bitches. If you don't share it, use a bitch. Use a hoe. You're a man hoe or a woman hoe if you don't share my broadcast. So stop fucking around and hit that share button. Mash it. And float some hearts and float some thumbs. Float them. Hold on, I'm gonna eat them. Remember last time I used to do this? Ready? Hold on, ready? Come on. Yeah, yummy. I like it. Feed Papa Swolio. Delicious. Now I got my energia. Let's do this. Thank you for joining me, everyone. And if you're just joining me for the first time, I hope you're still joining me. You're not like, what the fuck is this asshole doing? Thank you for joining me for episode 455. Every day, live at 12 noon. Eastern time on Facebook. You can catch all the episodes as well on YouTube and listen to the podcast going right in your fucking ear hole on SoundCloud and iTunes. Caffeine time. And as it disappears into my belly, we are going to revel in the awesomeness that was yesterday. Yesterday was pretty damn sweet. Yesterday was awesome. Yesterday was amazing with the unboxing with the Thor hammer from Stronger Grip. That was sick. And also the workshop last night, which was off the chain. So if you're in premium and you were in the workshop, float some thumbs and some hearts. The workshop was absolutely fantastic. And that was all about core training. Obviously, we're talking about core training for the last week or so. Now, taking a step back, still talking about core, always talking about core, always talking about posture, always talking about alignment. But now we're going into the shoulder. I want to talk a little bit more about the upper body, the shoulders like boulders. Let's talk about building the upper body. Let's talk about building the shoulders, building those caps, and why the shoulders are important. So, wake up, team. Wake up, fam. Float them. Don't stop. It's not like you're doing anything. You're just holding your phone. Man. If you're driving a car, you shouldn't be watching and driving. Shouldn't be driving while gaining. Leave that to old Papa Swolio. Well, welcome to the Gain Train. Let's talk about shoulders. What is the reason why people like working shoulders? What's one of the reasons why people want to train? What's one of the reasons why people want to work out, right? You want to lose fat. Sweet. You want to lose stomach fat. Sweet. They want aesthetics. Okay, let's write that word on the board. Let's try not to fuck it up. Aesthetics. Very popular word nowadays, especially on Instagram. Everyone wants aesthetics. Everyone wants to look a certain way. Well, it's funny because everyone wants to look a certain way and then keeps on slamming their abs and crunching and doing all this bullshit to no avail. And that's why we talked about core training last night in the workshop. That's why I've been talking about core for the past week, always, but really focusing on for the past week because everyone wants to lose weight around that section. But there's other things at work. It's not just, okay, how many crunches have you done? How many sit-ups have you done? Is your form right? That's going to reduce that area. It's hormones, it's sleep, it's nutrition, it's all those other aspects that will allow for the fat to not be in that area. So what else helps with aesthetics? And what does aesthetics mean? That means pretty much how you look, things matching, bodybuilding, having the muscles be the size that they should be relative to other muscles in that area, and the tie-ins and having a sizable shoulder relative to the bicep, to the tricep, arms sizable to the legs, never skipping leg day, all that stuff. It all comes down to aesthetics. All it comes down to proportions, right? And balance. So aesthetics is important when it comes to, it's how you look. That when you say you want to look a certain way, you want aesthetics. Well, how can we create aesthetics? How can we work towards physically looking a certain way? Because we talk a lot about the longevity and feeling good and being healthy and not getting injured, and that's very important. But also, aesthetics has a lot to do with not getting injured and feeling good. And it seems kind of counterintuitive. It's like, well, are we working out to be healthy, or are we working out to look a certain way? Well, you can work out to look a certain way, and that will also help with your actual physical health, because when you are evenly distributing the muscle growth and development and targeting when you're training, you're creating a balance, which will help for reducing pain, which will help for improving functionality, and all those things. So they kind of go hand in hand. But how can we increase aesthetics? One of the ways is by that classic V-taper for males and for females. People want that classic body. You want a smaller waist and, you know, legs, and you want that kind of like taper, right? It's called a V-taper because it looks like a V, right? There's that V that we talk about. So when we talk about the shoulders, having some definition in your shoulders, I'm not saying look, you know, I'm not saying have trouble walking through a fucking door, but having some width to your shoulders will, in proportion and in, you know, in comparison to your waist, make it look smaller. So as you're focusing on diet, nutrition, sleep, and all the habits that can help trim your waistline, you're also developing the shoulders, which will give you more of an aesthetic appeal. You'll also see some people that have way too much of a V-taper. They look like clowns. They have naturally genetically tiny waists, and they have really big shoulder caps, and they look fucking weird. Like, you don't want too much either one way. You want a proper ratio. What the mathematical ratio is, I don't know. I don't care. You can look it up. I'm sure Da Vinci figured it out. This V-taper is kind of like one of the hallowed, it's one of like the holy grails of lifting, okay? That aesthetic look. Now, the shoulders are a complicated area, and we'll get more into that over the next few days, because this week's workshop is gonna be all about the shoulders. When we talk about the shoulders, you're looking at it from a couple different points of view. The shoulders, actually, I'll just put this right back again, and I'll give you like a little V. The shoulders is both, this area is mobile and stable. It's both. It's mobile and stable. And I'm going to explain this in more depth, and we're going to go into this, of course, in the workshop this coming week, but also over the next few days, because I'm going to break down a couple of things that you don't know or you're not aware of about the shoulder. This is a mobile and a stable joint. This is a mobile and a stable joint, this area. Now, I'm going to get more into the kinesiology, not today. I'm going to graze over it today, going to go deeper. We always go balls deep, but we don't have to do it the first date, right? Come on, the first date, you don't always go balls deep the first date. I mean, I ain't that kind of Papa Swolio. Well, I am, you know, right away. Why wait, right? I mean, why wait? Why waste a good thing? But we'll talk about it later. So it's a joint, it's a girdle. We'll talk about the entire region. This entire region is both mobile and stable. Because if I say the shoulder joint is both, that's not true. But the whole region can be mobile and can be stable. But it works synergistically. So you have a bunch of things going on. The reason why this is important is, one, it's a part of your fucking body, so it's important to understand and talk about the shoulder. But because of this kind of combination and this dichotomy, this separation, and this ability to do both and to be both and to be I mean, we use our arms, right? So the shoulder's always doing stuff. So when we have this going on, it becomes a constant thing that we use. It becomes important, and it also gets used and gets injured. So it's a common place for injury. Put a sad face there. It's a common place for injury. Many people float some hearts, fuck it, float some thumbs. Or comment below, shoulder injury, shoulder problem, shoulder pain. How many of you, comment, how many of you have had shoulder pain? How many of you have had a shoulder injury in the past? Maybe not now. How many of you have had shoulder pain? Just shoulder pain. Your shoulder hurts, your neck hurts on one side. This counts. Neck pain, shoulder pain, bicep, arm hurts, even fucking elbow, but like shoulder pain. Just basic shoulder pain. It hurts. It hurts. Make sure you hit the share button. This is important. This is important, and it doesn't get out there unless you spread the word. So hit the like, hit the heart, and hit that share button. It takes 2 seconds and it can help a lot of people because this stuff is real. This is real information, and this is really applicable. Injuries happen, especially if you're in a position or if you're in a field where you are using your arms and upper body a lot, when you're using your hands a lot. Hairdresser, makeup artists, carpenters, plumbers, like you're using your body. Even when you stock shelves at a supermarket, you're still using, and you have repetition. So you have repetitive, you get repetition. You also have a lot of mobility. You also have a lot of stability, but you have a lot of mobility, a lot of range of motion, the ball and socket with the actual shoulder joint. You know, we'll talk about the shoulder girdle and the stability that your body can provide. So you have repetition, you get repetitive movement, you have range of motion, you have a lot of things, and you use all the time. You never really give your upper body a break unless you don't use your hands one day, which is kind of weird. You also have the ability, that being said, you also have the ability for a shitload of strength. So man, remember yesterday? Was it yesterday? It was probably in the workshop. We talked about mobility and stability. When you have an increase in mobility, you have a decrease in stability. Well, it's very interesting that because you have so much mobility in the shoulder, you know, you could do so many things, you can produce so much strength. So how can you produce so much mobility, but also produce so much strength? This is that yin and yang. This is that, you know, left and right. This is that balance, right? And we always do this. Always drawing this, always writing this out. This is that balance. This is that balance over here, right? So you have that scale. Fuck, I knew it. I fucking knew it. I drew a penis again. I always draw a fucking dick on this show, and I don't mean to. I don't mean to. Come on, it totally looks like a dick. I'm leaving it. Damn. Sucks. Always drawing fucking dicks, and I don't even intend to. This is mobility. Shit. Stability. If you have a lot of children following your page, I don't know if I would share it. Teach them about the birds and the bees, okay? All right, so we'll call this the dick scale, the scale of dicks. Fuck. I could just ignore it and be like, oh, it's not a penis. But come on, you got to call it what it is. When you draw a dick, you got to own it. I own this dick. That's my dick. That's my boy. One love, Dick. One love. A red rocket. That's like a Kim Jong-il. That's a North Korean rocket. Well, it wouldn't be that big then. Oh shit! Dun-dun. Like that? You like that? Yeah, John. I drew the Washington Monument. That's what I did. That's what I did. Okay, mobility and stability. Did that joke escape people? Did anyone catch that? Yeah, that was a good one. Come on. Tough crowd. All right, a lot of Asians in the crowd today? Come on. You know. Now hit the share button because that was funny. Mobility and stability. Where was I? Dick scale, North Korean penis, mobility and stability. Okay, so you have this balance, all right? You have this tentative balance. Now, when mobility goes down, generally you're going to have more stability, okay? And vice versa. This goes up and then this is going to, okay, so that's obvious. That's how a scale works. So when mobility increases or decreases, you know, it's kind of hard to show this because if this goes down, it looks like it's decreased, so that means it's heavier. Anyway, there's a balance. When you have more mobility, you have less stability. When you have less mobility, you have more stability. And the shoulder does both. Bottom line, the shoulder does both. It's a very fascinating area of the body because it's injured often. It produces a shit ton of strength. It's very functional, has a ton of mobility, and we use it all the time. It's like one of the things that separates us and our abilities from a lot of the creatures in our world. But we have to understand this concept that the shoulder does both. And the shoulder is at great risk. And if you don't create that proper stability, you can get hurt because you have too much mobility or the weakness that's associated with lack of stability. If you have too much stability, you lack mobility, which is going to cause your body to compensate elsewhere in the system, and you can get hurt in your back, you get hurt in your neck in certain areas because you have too much stability and you're lacking mobility. So you need this, but you also need this. So you need both. You really do. In the shoulder, you need a nice even blend. And this is the reason, and I'll leave you all with this, this is the reason why when people do bench pressing and shit like that, they don't hurt their shoulder. They don't tear a muscle in their deltoid. As what you can see on the outside of the shoulder, they hurt their rotator cuff, the stabilizers, okay? But they're hurting their stabilizers because they don't have mobility. They don't have that activation. They don't have that stability, which also affects mobility, which leads to injury risk. So you need both. You really do need this balance. So let me just cut the tip. Fucking A. I got to get off the air before something really bad happens. Mobility and stability, you need balance. And this is the holy grail. This is what we want from the shoulder. So over the next few days, and especially in the workshop next Thursday in Premium, we're going to be attacking the shoulder. Different exercises, building that aesthetic appeal, how to train the shoulders, how the shoulders react, the muscle fiber types, how we can target the shoulders, what some of the things that you should not be doing with the shoulders, what are some of the things you should be thinking about in terms of creating that balance, creating that stability, and creating that mobility. So all that is coming, and because it's Flex Friday, today might be a shoulder and arm day. Actually, it's absolutely a shoulder and arm day. So I'm going to smash that out. But make sure you keep the shoulders in mind and keep the dick scale in mind for the next few days at least, because going to be attacking the shoulders all week, going to be hammering right into the workshop next Thursday in Premium. So I'll be talking more about that, and you'll be hearing a lot more about the Premium workshop, because that's gonna be fucking awesome. Corrective exercises, strengthening exercises, all the things that you need to get your shoulder training underway. But especially over the next few days here on the daily, I'm gonna be breaking down why this is important, what the difference is, how you can go about training it, and the things you should be thinking about when you're going through your shoulder training. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 455 of the Daily Sleazy, the most muscular penis scale in the realm, the only Swole cast where you can watch a bearded, long-haired freak flex and draw dicks on camera live every day at 12 noon Eastern time. Well, I'm not gonna draw dicks every day at 12 noon Eastern time, but you never know. That's the great thing about the Daily Swole. You never know when you're gonna get dicked. You never know when you're gonna get a dick pic. So, you know, this is like fucking live Tinder right now. Like, hey, dick pic. Didn't expect that, did you? Hey. All right, every day live at 12 noon Eastern time. Catch them all on YouTube. Listen to the podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. Peace, McGee's, Deuce, Magoos. Flex them if you got them. Thank you so much for everyone that joined the live workshop last night in Premium. And also, make sure you check me out on Instagram, because I may or may not be going live a few minutes after this just to shoot the shit. Who knows? I'm definitely going to go live at some point. Catch me, follow me, Snapchat, Instagram stories, all that good stuff. Love you. Peace. Mwah, 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 mwah. Later.